What would you do if a 10-year-old homeless boy ran up to your luxury car, slammed his hands on the door and screamed, "Don't drive your wife, cut the brakes"? Sounds insane, right? That's exactly what happened to billionaire Nathan Blackwood just hours before he was supposed to arrive at Manhattan's most exclusive charity gala. He had no idea that beneath the glamour of his high society life, a deadly trap had been set. And the person pulling the strings was the woman he kissed goodbye that very morning. But what no one saw coming was Liam, a street kid with nothing but sharp instincts and a heart braver than most adults. His warning triggered a chain of events that would uncover lies, betrayal, and an assassination plot so precise it could have changed headlines forever. This isn't just a story about crime and wealth. It's about how truth sometimes finds its voice in the most unexpected places, and how a boy no one noticed ended up saving a man the whole world admired. Stick with us because what happened next will blow your mind. Have you ever been so desperate to warn someone that you screamed into a wall of silence, knowing no one would believe you, yet you screamed anyway? That's exactly what 10-year-old Liam Carter did the day he saw something that could cost a billionaire his life. It started like any other chilly morning in New York City. Liam, wrapped in a tattered hoodie, was digging through a trash bin behind a luxury hotel near Times Square. He wasn't looking for trouble, just food. But that morning, fate had other plans. Two men in dark jackets stood near a sleek black Bentley parked under a security camera blind spot. Their hushed voices were barely audible, but Liam had learned to read danger. He stayed hidden behind a dumpster, heart pounding, when he caught a chilling phrase, "Cut the brakes." Clean and quiet. He froze. "What about the cameras?" one asked. The other smirked. "Already looped. The lady paid good money for this." The lady, as the men laughed and pulled tools from their backpacks, Liam crept closer. He needed to see faces, needed to hear names. Then one of them muttered, "Vanessa Blackwood doesn't want mistakes. This time it's gotta look like an accident." Liam's breath caught in his throat. Vanessa Blackwood, the glamorous wife of billionaire real estate mogul Nathan Blackwood, the same woman who smiled in every magazine photo beside her husband, the man who owned half the skyline. He should have run. Any other kid would have. But something in his gut, something deeper than fear, told him he couldn't just walk away. Liam didn't know Nathan, never even seen him up close, but he knew enough from newsstands to recognize the Blackwood name. And if what those men were saying was true, then Nathan Blackwood would die unless someone stopped him from getting into that car. So Liam ran. He ran faster than he had in his life, dodging traffic and shoving through crowds, his legs trembling with adrenaline and cold. By the time he reached Blackwood Tower, he was breathless, filthy, and completely invisible to the crisp-suited guards outside. He tried to explain, tried to yell. They laughed. One told him to go beg somewhere else. But Liam didn't quit. He waited. Hours later, just before sundown, the tower's front doors swung open. A convoy of black SUVs emerged, and there he was, Nathan Blackwood himself. Towering, elegant, flanked by bodyguards, his sunglasses hiding any hint of humanity, and he was walking straight toward the car. "No," Liam screamed. The guards stiffened, ready to pounce. "Don't drive! Don't get in the car!" he yelled again, bolting forward before anyone could stop him. "Your wife cut the brakes. She wants you dead." There was chaos. A bodyguard grabbed his arm. A second one raised his radio. But Liam kept struggling, fighting like a cornered animal. "It's not a prank," he shouted. "I heard them behind the hotel. She paid them. The brakes, they cut the brakes." Nathan turned. For a second, everything froze. The billionaire looked directly at him. Something in Liam's raw, terrified expression pierced through the noise. He raised his hand. "Wait," he told the guards. "Let him speak." Liam's voice cracked. "Please don't drive that car, sir. I swear they're going to make it look like an accident." Nathan narrowed his eyes, assessing the boy. "You're saying my wife is behind this?" Liam nodded. "Vanessa?" "I heard them say her name." Silence fell again. The security team exchanged uncertain glances. And then Nathan spoke, calm but firm. "Cole," he said, addressing his head of security, checked the car. Now, the inspection took 10 minutes. 10 excruciating minutes where Liam sat trembling on the curb, wondering if he'd be arrested or worse. But when Cole Jennings returned, his face was pale. "They did it," he said. "Brake lines were cut clean. It's a miracle we caught this in time." Nathan's jaw clenched. He turned to Liam. "You just saved my life, kid." But Liam didn't smile. His voice was barely a whisper. "I think they saw me. I think they know." Nathan nodded slowly, his mind already moving 10 steps ahead. "Then you're not safe either." He looked to Cole. "Take him with us. Secure location. I want him protected like he's my own blood." As the black SUV pulled away into the night, Liam stared out the window, unable to process what had just happened. He'd gone from scouring garbage cans to riding in a bulletproof car with the richest man in the city. But this wasn't a fairy tale. It was only the beginning of something darker. And somewhere in a glass mansion overlooking the Hudson River, Vanessa Blackwood smiled into a champagne glass, believing her plan had already worked. If only she knew. I'm so sorry to interrupt the story here, but what happens next will shock you even more. Let me ask you this. What do you think is the real reason Vanessa wants her husband dead? If you were in Liam's shoes, would you risk everything to save a stranger? And by the way, where are you watching this story from? If you're enjoying this thriller, please give it a like and drop a heart to support the channel. Every click helps us keep telling stories that matter. When billionaire Nathan Blackwood ordered his security team to dismantle his custom Bentley that night, he didn't expect what they'd find to shake him to his core. The brake lines weren't just cut, they had been surgically sliced. Hydraulic fluid drained with precision, not a trace left for suspicion. Whoever did this wasn't some petty thug. This was professional work, military grade. And Liam Carter, a trembling 10-year-old boy from the streets, had just exposed it all. Nathan didn't sleep that night. He didn't even go home. Instead, he took Liam to a private residence on the 48th floor of Blackwood Tower, his most secure corporate suite overlooking Manhattan. Floor-to-ceiling glass, but suddenly the city lights felt like spotlights on his vulnerability. "Get me Cole," Nathan said quietly, voice like steel wrapped in velvet. Within minutes, Cole Jennings, his head of security, arrived, already holding a file. "We checked hotel cameras," Cole began, eyes sharp. "Footage from the back alley is missing. Someone wiped it remotely. But based on Liam's statement and what we found under the hood," Nathan interrupted. "It was Vanessa." Cole hesitated. "That's a serious accusation, sir. She insisted I drive myself to that charity gala. Said it would make me look humble." "Vanessa hasn't asked me to drive in 10 years. Cole's silence said everything. Nathan turned toward Liam, who sat silently on the edge of a velvet couch, nervously holding a glass of orange juice. He looked out of place in the sea of marble and leather, like a ghost that had wandered into a mansion. "Kid," Nathan said softly, "you sure you heard my wife's name?" Liam nodded slowly. "I heard one guy say it. Vanessa Blackwood doesn't want mistakes." That's what he said. That was enough. Within hours, Nathan's private intelligence team had set up a covert operation. Cameras, tapped phones, background checks. And one goal: find the men who tampered with his car and link them directly to Vanessa. By dawn, the operation had a name: Project Glass Widow. Later that morning, Vanessa smiled gracefully at reporters as she stepped out of the couple's mansion in Long Island. She claimed Nathan was out of town on urgent business. In reality, Nathan was watching her live from a hidden surveillance feed. The contrast between her serene face and the firestorm brewing behind the scenes made his blood run cold. "She's already planning the next move," Nathan said bitterly. But Vanessa wasn't the only one acting fast. Through a complex network of informants, Nathan's team identified one of the men from the alley, Rico Delgado, an ex-military mechanic turned ghost operative. He had a record sealed tighter than a vault and a reputation for making problems disappear. Nathan knew the only way to bring Vanessa down was through Rico. So they set a trap: a fake client, a dummy job, a quiet warehouse on the industrial edge of the city far from eyes and ears. The plan was simple: lure Rico in with a fake assignment and get him to talk on camera. What they didn't expect was for Rico to show up armed and not alone. Nathan watched everything from a surveillance van parked nearby. His heart raced as Rico entered the warehouse, flanked by two stone-faced goons. Cole's voice crackled through the earpiece. "All teams in position. We go dark the moment he confesses." Inside, the fake client wearing a hidden mic began the dance. "We heard you handled a delicate job recently. Something automotive." Rico's eyes narrowed. "You got a name? Let's just say the initials are NB." Someone important? Someone who almost died. Rico grinned. I remember. That was Art. Nathan leaned forward, fists clenched. Then came the bait. Word is you worked for someone classy, real high society. His wife, maybe. Rico chuckled, took a stack of fake bills from the table, flipped through them. Then, like a gunshot in a quiet room, he said, yeah, Vanessa Blackwood, real ice queen, said she wanted it clean. Pity the guy didn't die. Nathan's breath caught. He had the proof. But at that exact moment, disaster. One of Rico's men spotted the reflection of a hidden camera in a metal beam. Ambush, he shouted, pulling a weapon. Chaos erupted. Gunshots tore through the warehouse as security teams moved in. Nathan's heart pounded as he watched bodies duck, weapons drawn. In the mayhem, Rico escaped, but one of his men was wounded and captured. More importantly, the recording was secured. Rico had confessed. Back at Blackwood Tower, Nathan stood silently staring at the city skyline. Behind him, Liam watched the news report about an industrial fire in the warehouse district. No mention of the ambush. No sign of the war brewing beneath New York's polished surface. Why is she doing this? Liam finally asked. Nathan turned, his face older than it had been just days ago. Because power tastes better when it's stolen. He looked at the boy, dirty jeans, scraped hands, but eyes that had seen far more than they should. You saved my life, Liam, he said. Now we're going to save yours. But the danger was far from over. Vanessa still believed her plan was working. And she wasn't the type to back down after one failure. Nathan knew the next move would be even deadlier. I'm truly sorry to cut the story here, especially when things are just getting intense. But let me ask you, if you were Nathan, would you confront your wife now or wait to gather more evidence? Do you think Vanessa is working alone? Or is there someone even more powerful behind her? Also, where in the world are you watching this from? If you're finding this story gripping, don't forget to like this video and drop a heart. Your support helps us keep telling stories that matter. It was a night dressed in elegance, but behind every polished shoe and champagne flute was the scent of betrayal. The annual Financial Power Gala at the Astoria Grand Hotel was Manhattan's most exclusive event. Journalists, tycoons, senators all gathered beneath crystal chandeliers to celebrate wealth, legacy, and influence. None of them knew they were about to witness a scandal that would redefine it all. Nathan Blackwood arrived in a black tuxedo, his calm expression hiding the storm churning beneath. His security team, dressed as waiters and guests, blended into the crowd. Cole Jennings stood by the side entrance, eyes scanning every corner, his earpiece whispering updates. And Liam Carter, the 10-year-old boy who'd started it all, watched from a private surveillance room upstairs. A hot cocoa in hand, feet dangling from the leather chair. He stared at the monitors like they were movie screens, only this was no film. At 9:13 p.m. she arrived. Vanessa Blackwood descended from her limousine like a goddess carved from marble, draped in a blood-red gown that shimmered with every step. Her face was flawless, her smile calculated. The crowd whispered in admiration. But Nathan didn't move. She approached him, kissed him lightly on the cheek. You made it, she said sweetly. Feeling better, Nathan only nodded. Much better. Thanks to the people who care about me. Vanessa's eyes flickered for a second, but her smile didn't fade. Meanwhile, on the second-floor balcony, two men in dark suits unpacked a sleek metal case. Inside, a disassembled rifle. Rico Delgado had returned. Ramiro, one of Cole's top agents, watched them through binoculars. They're arming up, he murmured into his mic. They're going for a long-range shot. Cole's voice was firm. Wait for the signal. At 9:32 p.m., Nathan was called to the stage. He stepped into the spotlight, gripping the sides of the podium. Cameras flashed. Applause thundered. Vanessa sat in the front row, clapping, eyes gleaming. But Nathan wasn't here to give a speech. He was here to end it. My friends, he began, voice steady, before we celebrate success tonight, I must share something deeply personal, a warning about trust. The room fell silent. In the past week, someone close to me tried to kill me. They failed. But what they didn't know is that I have the truth. Gas spread like wildfire. Vanessa stood up. Nathan, what are you doing? He didn't even glance at her. Instead, Cole entered from the side of the ballroom holding a tablet. With one tap, a recording echoed through the speakers. Yeah, Vanessa Blackwood, real ice queen, said she wanted it clean. Vanessa froze. Security agents surrounded her as Rico's voice played on loop. Real Ice Queen? Ice Queen? She looked at Nathan, her perfect facade cracked. You're nothing without me, she hissed. You built your empire on my father's name? Nathan finally turned to her. No, I built it despite him. Despite you. Screams erupted on the balcony as SWAT teams swarmed in. Rico Delgado was wrestled to the floor. His rifle clattered across the tile. Downstairs, Vanessa tried to run, but it was too late. Cameras flashed. Reporters yelled. Police placed her in cuffs as she snarled and cursed. And just like that, the Ice Queen shattered. Days later, the headlines were everywhere: Blackwood Empire nearly destroyed by betrayal from within. Vanessa was charged with attempted murder conspiracy and financial fraud. Her secret offshore accounts, hitman payments, and fake charities, everything unraveled like cheap thread. But behind the scandal, something beautiful was quietly unfolding. Liam, once invisible to the world, now had a warm bed, clean clothes, and more importantly, a protector who owed him his life. One morning, as they sat on the rooftop garden of Blackwood Tower, Nathan turned to the boy and said, "What would you say if I helped you get into a real school?" Liam blinked. "Like with a backpack and everything?" Nathan smiled. "The works. Backpack, books, even soccer shoes." Liam's face lit up, but he hesitated. "And when all this stuff is over, you won't send me back to the streets, right?" Nathan shook his head. "Never. You're home now, Liam. Sometimes family isn't who you're born with. It's who walks into your life against all odds and refuses to leave. And so while one chapter closed in betrayal, another opened in trust. Because in the heart of Manhattan, a boy with nothing had saved a man with everything, and in return, they saved each other. Thank you for watching. I'm so sorry to pause the story just as it hits the heart. But tell me this. Do you think Liam should stay with Nathan forever, or should he eventually find his own path? What surprised you the most about Vanessa's downfall? And by the way, what country are you watching from? If this story moved you, even just a little, please drop a heart and share this video so more people can hear stories like this. It truly means the world to us. If you loved it, comment no 3 below. If not, comment numbered 1 or no 2 if you're somewhere in the middle. We're here to listen.